Is this a thing that people's parents do? Because I'm against rating in general, but like, why is your dad asking your now wife to rate you out of 10? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things movies, TV shows, and Hollywood. So today I want to get into episode 2 of Married at First Sight season 20 because I'm following it for the first time. And I'm really trying to be seen about this show. I don't know why I've never seen it before, but I'm really trying to get into it. So last episode ended with Adam and Marissa finding out that they actually know each other. And then this episode, we find out that the reason they know each other is because they met at a bar a few years ago. And basically, Adam approached her, they exchanged numbers, and then for some reason, they just never spoke to each other again. Never texted, no nothing, no contact, forgot each other existed, and then boom, here we are. So whatever that was about, okay. It's not anything dramatic, but I guess they did know each other and were attracted to each other at some point. So attraction down, cool. Marissa tells him that she loved the gifts. So they're at this big dinner and now they're just getting to know each other, and she's like she actually loved the gifts. So Adam is telling Marissa that he actually thought that she would be overwhelmed by the gifts. And I thought that too, on account of he was just being like a little bit, it gave controlling. I said this in my review for the first episode. He was just being very unusual with the nature of the way he was talking about the gifts. But she apparently likes it, so apparently they might actually be a good match just based on that. And she says, basically when he says, do you play pickleball, because that was one of the gifts, and she's like, oh yeah, I play pickleball now. So that's why I'm like, okay, if she doesn't have a problem with it, I'm not gonna have a problem with it. But I just I'm still keeping both eyes on Adam at this point until further notice. Okay, so then we have Felipe and Tori at their dinner, and they're getting to know each other. And Tori's sister actually stands up to give a speech, and she's saying that she wants someone to take care of her sister the way that Tori has always shown up for her family. And it's very sweet, and I hope Felipe is not going to let her sister down, because yeah, I also want Tori to be taken care of, and given the life that she's had. And Felipe is just giving a bit unserious. I hope this is not going to be a situation where she's basically parenting him, where she's dealing with like a childish man. But I hope he's going to actually be serious. Felipe's best man actually talks about male vulnerability in their friendship, and basically talking about how close they are, and how Felipe basically shows up for the people around him, and how loving he is. So given the speeches, I'm like, okay, I might actually be starting to like Felipe as an individual, possibly, because the first episode he was literally the first man we were introduced to, and I was side-eyeing him heavy. But maybe we're gonna see. I don't know how he is as a husband yet. We will find out. But as an individual, he's funny. I'll give him that. At the very least, he's gonna give me the laughs I need, and that's at the very least better than nothing. So then Felipe's sister gives a speech, and she starts off the speech with, "I never thought this day would come." I don't know Felipe from Adam, but I'm kind of with his sister on that. It's not giving like it's not given like we thought he was gonna be getting married and being somebody's husband at this time. But yeah, she gives a very sweet and welcoming speech, welcoming Tori to the family. So that's amazing that the whole family's taking her in. We'll later see the mother taking her in as well. So okay, this wedding is it's at the very least it's not awkward, as we're gonna see the rest of these weddings turn out to be. At least this one was not awkward. This might actually be my favorite wedding out of them. Because when I tell you guys this episode, I was like, I would have died of laughter if I was a guest at these weddings. Because it's just too much chaos. It's too much awkwardness. But we'll get into it. So let's move on to Belle Jolie is talking to Mecca's dad. This is at the wedding after party and everything. And she's basically getting asked to give Mecca a rating. Now, guys, is this a thing that people's parents do? Because I'm against rating in general, but like, why is your dad asking your now wife to rate you out of 10? What's going on? Mm, don't know, cause like okay, um, Mecca's dad has shown that he likes to, just joke around and most of the time take the piss out of Mecca. Just drag his son just a little bit, and I thought it was, I don't know, I thought it was, he was just joking with it at first, but why are you asking her to break, anyways. But Mecca doesn't seem to mind his dad's joke, so if you like it, I love it. Whatever. So she actually gives him a rating of 8 to 9 out of 10. Belgium's actually not upset at Mecca's looks, like she's attracted to him, which is nice. And then the dad says that the reason he's asking these types of questions is because he is a principal. Apparently, he's somebody's school principal, so he's asking principal types of questions. When, guys, what kinds of schools did y'all go to? Because when does your principal ask you to rate somebody out of 10? Is this something that happens in real life? Because what you talk about principal types of questions, if you want it to be messy, just say that. But yeah, principal types of questions. Okay. Anyways, Belgia says that she is happy with his personality. She was afraid he was gonna be dry and boring. Girl, I feel you. I feel you. Okay. So now she's got a pretty face and he's interesting as well. So she's happy with that. She's also really happy that he's African American. That was one of the things she was really not trying to skip on. She said she wants tall, dark, and handsome, which Tori also wanted. But like I said, I don't know if they're talking about the same type of tall, dark, and handsome, but they got what they wanted. So now Mecca is talking with his boys, and the boys are basically telling him, don't have any expectations going into the wedding night. You know what I'm saying? You guys actually don't know each other for real. So just play it by ear, see the vibe, read the room. And yeah, Mecca is basically like he doesn't know how it's gonna go, but his friends are just telling him, just at the end of the day, he knows to be respectful. Just follow the what's the vibe giving? Because guys, I can't imagine marrying somebody I have never seen before, because this is too awkward. Our families don't know each other, the friends don't know each other, we're just talking to each other for the first time, and now we're going to wedding night. That's crazy. But anyways, they're gonna figure it out. This show has been going for 20 seasons. They're gonna figure it out. So then we're introduced to Courtney. This is a lady in the cast. So Courtney did bodybuilding. She's extremely into fitness and sports. So that's really paramount for her. It's very important for the person that she is marrying to be into fitness and sports as well. Nick, back to Nick. Nick, our reality TV star. Nick played lacrosse actually. Up until he was in MIT as well, he played, and he said that he started every game, and that should tell us how bad the team was. I said, oh, the shade, the shade. So apparently the team wasn't all that back in the day. If he was on that team and he was starting, is what's going on. But he played lacrosse. Whether or not he was good at it remains to be seen. According to him, I wouldn't have high hopes. But like, he plays a sport at least, which is what she wanted. He clearly works out, so that's good for them. And she wants somebody that drinks, won't make her wear a turtleneck, won't make her go to church every Sunday. So basically, I'm getting the impression that she has a like kind of negative view on religion, or maybe a past with religion, or a past experience with a religious partner. That's like, I don't know, but she's not even trying to be into that. So she's like, nah, don't expect me to go to church with you. It's not gonna happen, is what's going on. Okay. And that's perfect for Nick, because he says he doesn't want a partner who expects him to go to church every Sunday. Cool. y'all can do that together. Okay. She also says she wants someone who's exclusively conservative. She says like she will have some things um that she's more liberal on, like some topics, but she can't understand how someone cannot be economically conservative. We don't do politics on this channel, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But Nick says he is conservative leaning as well, except he's liberal on some topics. We like to keep things super super light over here, so let's not even dwell on that. Then Courtney says that she has been cheated on in the past, so a really important thing for her is not being left. It's a big fear that she has. And then Paul clocks her during their discussion, and Paul's basically like, I think it's that you don't believe that you're deserving of someone loving you forever. And she agrees that she like, that's something that she needs to work on, is getting to that point where she feels like she deserves that, and that's what she's worth. She's worth somebody staying with her forever and wanting to be with her forever. So that's a big thing that she's struggling with right now. We'll see if this plays a big part in how this marriage is going to progress. And then Nick says that sometimes he thinks that people date him just so they can say, oh, I dated a reality star. Nick, Nick, Nick. Okay. Okay, and he might be right. It might be some people chasing clout because he's been on so many, but I feel like. Anyways. Anyways, that's his concern, and maybe he has experience with it. I'm not a reality star, so that's on it. And then Paul actually tells Nick in person when they meet at the park, okay? He actually tells Nick that, by the way, you're going to have to be the one to work hard to prove that you're here for a good reason. So basically, don't just think about, oh, somebody is dating you for the wrong reason. No. You have to prove that you're here to be married for the right reasons. And I'm with you, Paul, because we're all suspicious. I'm very suspicious of his intentions because I've seen you too many times. So I'm like, Paul, thank you. Actually, you need to think about how you're going to prove to us that you're genuine. Actually, thank you. So then Nick says he works in tech. He works a 9 to 5. So he's not faking it. He's not here for like trying to make a career. He has a career. And I'm like, maybe you're not here for the career, but I'm not convinced that you're like not here for the clout. At the very least, for the name of it all. As far as that can be. I don't know. One of his friends later on calls him a D-list celebrity, or does he call himself that? But he's basically talking to his friends later on, and his friends are like, life of a D-list celebrity. That's what they're talking about. And I'm like, I'm glad y'all know that it's not giving A-list high key. But anyways, Paul and Lisa think that Courtney's unfilteredness is going to like kind of be a foil to Nick's filteredness. And is that what we're calling it? Filteredness? I'm low-key calling it fakeness until I'm proven wrong. Just a little bit low-key though. I'm still like, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but I'm low-key calling it fakeness. But I think they wanted to be nice about it. Say he's filtered. I don't know. It's good. Like, I'm not convinced that he's not here to appear a certain way on camera and get good PR or whatever he's here for, okay? But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong by the end of the season. I hope I'm wrong. So then Nick's best man actually says that he didn't want Nick to go on another dating show. This is what they say at the wedding day, okay? So they're getting ready, and he's actually saying, I didn't want you to go on this, okay? And I'm with you on that, Nick's best man. Except we're doing this for two different reasons. You see, I'm doing it because I can't believe that he's serious about this experience. And Nick's best man is doing it from a point of view of his life has been impacted so much from going on the dating shows, and he's just kind of worried about him because of that. But anyways, we're on the same page for two different reasons. Yeah. And then Nick's groomsman actually asks him, one of the groomsmen is like, what have you prepared what you're gonna say to her dad, basically. And Nick is like, I haven't prepared anything. I want to be authentic. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, you do need to prove that you're being real, but also at the same time, I'm begging you, don't show your ass. Please don't go there unprepared with not knowing what to say and embarrass yourself. That's all I'm saying, because nobody want to see that. So then Nick walks out, right? He's heading to the altar, and then one of the bridesmaids actually says he looks like Tom Brady. And like, okay, Nick doesn't look bad at all. Like, he cleans up now. He look good in that suit. He does. I think so. So, like, my thing is not Nick's appearance. outwardly, it's that I feel like he's putting on an appearance for the camera. Is what's going on. So when Courtney walks out, we actually find out that they both like the way each other looks. He's like, she's so beautiful, and she's really into his build and everything and the way he looks. So I'm like, okay, first part down. Let's now see how the rest of it is gonna go. So moving on to Michelle. Michelle actually is telling her friend that she wants an attractive man because she wants her kids to look cute. And her friend is like, I don't want them to pair you up with an uggo. Damn. I mean, that's fair. I hope uggo is a strong word, no? Uggo is a strong word to describe someone, but I hope that she's happy with what it ends up being in the end. So Michelle actually gets deep and tells us that she was diagnosed with fibroids at 26. And that was something that really scared her and really moved her life around because she's always wanted to have kids. And the fact that she might not be able to have kids is so scary for her. And it must have been so scary for her. I can't imagine that. And then she had to freeze her eggs, actually. She froze her eggs. So not like something, having kids is something that's really, really important to her. So I hope she gets that. So then Cameron is who she ends up being partnered with. Cameron played basketball, like pro basketball, in Ireland, Australia, and Chile. And now he coaches at community college. So Cameron said that he got ghosted. This one time he asked out a girl because I guess he was sitting in a cafe or something. And then the girl, this lady was like, can you watch my laptop while I go to the bathroom? So in his mind, she was asking, like she was showing attraction in him. And I'm just confused. Is this the universal sign of attraction for people? I don't know. And I also wouldn't know because I have no dating experience. I'm literally just here for the TV. I'm here to give my commentary and nothing else. I'm really not here to be one of the experts. But I know a thing or two, but I've never heard of that before. But anyways, so the wedding day, right? We are introduced to Michelle's grandmother and mother, and I think her brother. And basically, we find out that Michelle's parents were actually match made by her grandmother. So she's not new to this. She's true to this. You understand? She is true to this whole matchmaking scheme, I'll call it. Okay. So her parents are actually still together, and her dad would be here, except it's on TV, and he's camera shy. So he was really like, I'm really not trying to be seen on TV. I lie you, but I'm really not trying to be seen on TV. See what I'm saying? Okay. So he actually wrote her a letter, and she tears up when she sees and reads the letter, just basically wishing her a happy marriage and everything. And then instead of being walked down the aisle by her dad, we see her enter on a horse-drawn carriage. It's really giving fairy tale. Love that for her. It's really giving fairy tale. She comes in, and then the person who I think is her brother walks her down the aisle. And then we cut to Marissa and Adam. So Marissa, she looks like she's kind of like, I guess, excited to get to know him. Adam is looking very checked out. Like, you know, when you're having a conversation with somebody and you can tell they're not really trying to be talking to you for real. It's really giving one of those. Either that or he just has a really bad resting face. In which case, so do I. But like, he was looking checked out. And like, the conversation was just not flowing in the way the other ones were. Like, you see what I'm talking about, Felipe and Tori, who I'm not even trying to be rooting for Felipe, but like, it's looking like that might be the best wedding out of all of these. Not best marriage yet, but all the weddings for me, it gave the most. So Adam now goes to play the piano. He's basically summoned to go and play the piano, and he does a whole like classical, I guess, thing. He's playing a whole bunch of classical music. And Marissa tells her bridesmaids that apparently she's gonna learn piano too. And I'm just like, once again, it seems like she likes this whole thing of being taught stuff and like being interested in the things that he's interested in. So, okay, okay. If she's happy, then whatever. So Adam is playing the piano, and he's actually really good at playing the piano. But why does the camera go around the room? Everybody's bored as hell. You see some people fighting sleep, some people are yawning, some people people are bored as hell. And then now one of Marissa's bridesmaids is just there. She was holding back her laughter. And you know what's taking me out is the fact that she was holding back her laughter as soon as Adam walked out and when they were still at the altar, because it was kind of awkward. I read it as it was kind of awkward because he wasn't saying anything. He was just standing there, not introducing himself, not trying to you see the way I liked how Felipe was, he was coming down the vibe. He brought like jokes, trying to interact with her family as well. But now with Adam, it's like, and so everybody was bored. He's quite, I don't know, stiff, kind of like. So now she was cackling. She was cackling, and they're telling her, "Girl, don't laugh. What's wrong? Don't laugh." They're telling her, "Girl, don't laugh." She's holding back this laughter while this man is playing the piano and putting the audience to sleep. And I'm just like, first of all, that's on you, because who told you to come and play classical music at a wedding reception? We're supposed to be getting lit. Did you see? You'll see Felipe and Tori's after party, like when they're doing the dances, they're getting lit. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't nobody want to hear classical music right now. So yeah, I'm finally understanding what Paul meant by Tin Man, because Paul calls him a Tin Man with a heart. I didn't really get it, but I'm hearing the Tin Man now. I hear it now, okay? And I just don't understand why he's so serious. Like, I couldn't figure out what it was about the wedding from the very start of the ceremony, but that's it. He's just too serious. My boy, you take yourself too serious. Relax. Damn. So that's what's going on. So now we're moving on to Shawn and Nikki, okay? So Shawn Best, and I'm going to say his name because his name is relevant. Shawn Best wants someone who's flirty and sociable. He's a doctor, as in he has a doctorate and everything. And he's big into academia and everything. And then Dr. Lisa says that she knows the right person. Just the right person. Like the perfect person for Shawn, okay? Cut to Nikki, 47 years old, saying that she's shy in exchanges with men. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, he said he wants flirty. She says she's not trying to do all that. She's shy in her exchanges. Like, she wants the man to, like naturally be flirting with her. And I'm like, if this is this what we're calling perfect? If this is perfection, Lisa, I'm not understanding what you're talking about. So Shawn is an overachiever. Like, he basically, Paul is talking to him like, do you feel like the name Best has impacted your life? So his last name really has, because he's an overachiever. He's an overachiever at academics and sports. He was really doing like a whole bunch of sports in what was it, in high school. He was a quarterback, all this, that, and the other, and he's always striving to be the best. Okay. So both prioritize their career. Both Shawn and Nikki, they're single at their age they're at, right? So I believe Nikki is 40, was 47 or 46, might have been 46, and maybe Shawn was 47. So they both prioritize their career so much, and they now want to have kids and be married, and they're both open to adoption because they understand they're both at they're at a very mature age. Let me just say that. And then Shawn tells us that he was a pastor's kid. That's how he grew up. So he was very sheltered from sex and all that. And so he started exploring more and at 28, 29. So that's a bit about him. He points out that, and I don't know how I felt the type of way when he said this. He was like, he points out that he dated the first Black Miss Massachusetts and also the first Black Miss Pennsylvania. And he highlights that. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a flex. Like, I'm not like, but like, was that just a coincidence, or is that linked to you wanting the best, like status wise? Like like getting a woman with status. Is that what is going on? But also, I was just like, maybe he just has a specific type. But it's the fact that you highlighted that both of them were the very first Black Miss so and so. I Okay. Then Nikki typically dates 6 feet tall men. That's what she's saying. Then she claims, okay, that she can ignore the height if they have other strong qualities. So she says that she's a sapiosexual. Okay. Okay. For context, Shawn is 5'6", okay? So she's saying, yeah, I typically do date taller men, but it's not all the men I've dated are tall. And I can, if he has these other qualities and checks other boxes, then I'll be okay with it. Okay. We're about to see. So then his parents grew up poor. Shawn's parents grew up poor, and Nikki's parents also grew up poor. So for Shawn, he had his family that worked really hard to get out of their circumstances, and so he really wants like a boss lady. He wants somebody who's about their business like that. Um, and it seems like hard work is a big thing in his family, as it should be, as it really should be. And he wants that level of success and that type of thing. Now, Nikki, good for him, not so good for her, is a boss lady. Okay, we're gonna see why. Nikki was raised by poor teenage parents, and she's now an HR manager at a big tech company. So she's built that career. Okay, and now I understand why she is now focusing on marriage and kids. Because the first thing was, I need to get me that bag so I can get out the ghetto. Then we can talk about this other stuff. So now she says that she wants a man who makes no less than 200K. And the reason she actually justifies it, so she says that basically the past men that she dated, a lot of them earned less and were intimidated by the fact that she earns as much as she does. So she doesn't want to, like, nobody wants to deal with a man who's like all this bunch of extra stuff, like being jealous of their partner. Like, don't nobody want that. So I hear it, but Shawn then says that he's actually used to dating women who earn more than him. So that he's for that. And I'm like, that's good for you that you're open, but it's not good for her because she's not trying to hear that. But he does say that he doesn't mind it, like he doesn't mind a woman earning more. So maybe that's something that they can work out. Like, at the end of the day, some of these things are not set in stone. The appearance, now that's going to be set in stone. But maybe they can come to an agreement because he's not intimidated. It seems that's what he says. He wouldn't be intimidated by a woman earning more. And that's really her main concern. Unless her main concern is she just wants a rich man. That's a different thing. Then it's a bit more, but we'll see how they work it out, okay? But Shawn actually says that he was a musician and now he's just now into academia. He went back to school and now he's a doctor. But he used to be a musician, so that's why he was making like $400 a week. So he's used to this whole thing of women earning more than him, right? But he says he's now basically an inch away from being a college president. And, and those guys do be making money. I don't know if he goes to like a public or private one where he teaches, but he says he's about to be a college president, so that the bags might be coming in high key. Okay, we'll see about that. I already don't have much faith, but I have a little bit of faith, and we'll see why. Okay, but not that much in this coupling right here. Immediately, the experts are like, we're knocking on wood with this one. Remember, Dr. Lisa said that this was basically like she knew just the person for Shawn. So their hope is actually that Shawn's other qualities will kind of outweigh the fact that she is looking for something other than him physically because he's 5'6", and they're kind of hoping that, oh yeah, it's gonna and I'm like, that's low-key a setup, because we're just doing hope and pray at this point that they're going to, like, she's gonna be able to see past that. But also at the same time, Nikki could have said that height was a deal breaker instead of pretending to be a sapiosexual. Based on this episode, I feel like she was trying to convince herself like, oh yeah, I'll be okay with it. And it's like, a lot of people will say like, it's not that important, appearance is not that important, and I'm just like, babe, it's okay. It's okay. Like, you don't want to seem shallow or like You know, that type of, you just don't want to come off like you don't care about the right thing. So maybe she was like, oh yeah, I'm a sapiosexual, but she could have just said it was a deal breaker, because people have been putting their deal breakers out here. That's what I would have done. For my physical type, I would have put my deal breakers had it been me, because there's some things that you think you're willing to compromise on, and then that. So yeah, we're gonna see. So another thing that they are worried about, the experts are worried about, is the whole ego thing, because they're both so successful. It might be that they both have egos, and that's gonna be an issue. Or they might really be a perfect match and be like a power couple. So it could go either way. We shall have to see. So then Nikki is at her wedding day, right? And she gets a ring, and it's apparently his ring, right? She gets his ring delivered to her, and then she's now calculating his height in her mind based off of the ring. She's like, okay, the hand size is this. So if I carry the 2, multiply by 4, and do some calculations right here, this must be what his height is, okay? Is what's going on. And that told me everything I needed to know. Yeah. So she says she will just receive him as God made him. And the second, like, everyone in the room, like her bridesmaids and everything, they were like, height is very important, basically. And she was like, no, I'm gonna receive him as God gave him to me. So then Shawn actually also gifts her a necklace, and on the necklace he put the date of their wedding on it, right? And then she starts crying, because she's like, that, because it was really cute. So that's why I have a little sliver of hope that his other qualities and him being sweet and all these other things is going to eventually convince her, but we'll see. Okay, so then with Michelle and Cam, okay, Cam gets up from the dinner. They're at the wedding dinner. He gets up to greet everyone, and then his friend Robbie now turns to Michelle and is like, do you want to know some stuff about Cam? And here I am thinking, oh, he's going to talk about how sweet he is, how caring, how he is to his friends, and loving he is. This man now comes and talks about Cam is an absolute beast at basketball. Do you know he was the best person to ever graduate from his college? He played in the pros. He did this with Steph Curry, something. He's the best at basketball. And I'm like, I get it. You want to big your man up. You want to hype him up. But how is that relevant as to how he is in a relationship? Because, you know, you could have taken this time to talk about how he shows up in relationships and how he's going to be a good husband. But no, basketball. And I'm like, okay, damn, like, he did all the way too much for me personally. So Mecca's dad is reading him for filth in his speech. Okay, now we're at their after party again. And Mecca's dad exposes the fact that he was a D1 player on a girls' practice team. That's what Mecca was, because he wanted to be a pro athlete, but apparently he used to play on the girls' practice team. Yikes. Okay. And then he also talks about how he wanted to be a boxer, and then he proceeded to lose 3 boxing matches in a row on his track to that career. So he's basically clowning him, like he wanted to be this, that, and the other type of athlete. Didn't really go that way for him. Sucks to be him, is what's going on. But he's still proud of him regardless. He basically ends it talking about, you know, he's still proud of him, and he's proud that his son is a good person, regardless of how whatever he wanted to be didn't work out, right? So then Belle Jolie is stunned. She's literally like, there was no need to drag my man like this. Why you gotta do my husband like this? What's going on? And she's calling his dad unhinged. And I'm just like, this is too much. I hope that his dad's humor doesn't get to an annoying point, but we'll see. So then Belle Jolie's mom, in her speech, she now gets up, gives a speech, and she's talking about how Belle Jolie has overcome all the struggles that she's gone through in life. And now Belle Jolie is literally tearing up, you know what I'm saying? Very sweet. So sweet and sentimental. It's not giving dragging her for filth. It's not giving comedy, but it's giving heartfelt, which is also something there. Tori and Felipe. Whew, this episode has a lot. So Tori and Felipe, after their first dance, right? Tori has this sweet moment where she now goes to hug Felipe's mom. And I felt like that was so cute. They had a nice long hug. It wasn't one of them, those polite hugs, one of them. And for the fact that they don't know each other, I was like, this is cute. This was my favorite wedding for me because nobody was on BS. Okay. So then they have a mother-son dance. And then while Felipe and his mom are dancing, his mom is basically talking about how everyone is charmed by her and like she's so sweet and she really likes her. And Felipe said he was worried about his mother being intense. We still have the whole season to see what that's gonna look like, but it seems like she likes her, so love that. Then the editing of this scene really had me. I was like, you guys are going to low-key have me rooting for these two, and I'm not sure about Felipe yet. So then, like, it was really sweet. Out of all these weddings, it was the least chaotic. Moving on to another chaotic wedding, okay? Nick. Nick and Courtney's wedding, Nick's brother steps up to give a speech. Why does Nick's brother get up on that stage to say that he's not surprised that Nick's having a TV wedding? Because Nick loves the spotlight. And I just feel like Nick's brother unintentionally showed Nick's cards. And the look on Nick's face told me everything I needed to know. He told me that that whole speech went left. He's like, you're telling them something they don't need to know. You're ruining my game out here is what's going on. Courtney is a bit suspicious. And I'm like, good girl, keep your wits about you. Because this man, she's like, I'm still waiting to see his intentions. And I'm like, I'm with you there. Okay. I'm keeping both eyes on Nick. Both ones. Okay. And then the episode ends with Shawn and Nikki's wedding. There's nothing sweet to even talk about. Let me just say, we get down to the altar, and you can just see the disappointment start to spread across Nikki's face. Sapiosexual my ass. Do you understand? Sapiosexual my ass. The looks do matter because the second she looked at I said, God forbid. God forbid you're ever looking that disappointed on your wedding day. Ooh. And that's why I'm like, everyone else seemed to be kind of each other's physical types. So the fact that this is the one couple, I'm like, you guys, the experts, y'all set them up. But also, Nikki, you set yourself up. Because you could have said that this was it for you. Like, he has to look like this and that's it. But you not wanting to come and say that you'll accept him however God gave him to you. I've never seen such disappointment at somebody's wedding in my life. Damn. But anyways, that's all I have for you for today's review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.